I'm at Rockley Station in Hampshire on the Mid-Hants Railway, better known as the Watercress Line. It's been hosting the world's most famous steam locomotive. Not Rocket, no, the Flying Scotsman. And I'm here today for a footplate experience, but I'm not climbing up into the footplate in the usual way. No, it's via the loco's corridor tender. A unique experience, I'm sure. The Flying Scotsman was the first locomotive to reach 100 miles an hour, set way back in 1934. Well, that's impressive, isn't it? Another record was running non-stop for 422 miles, but that was in Australia. I'm making my way down an old corridor coach, and this will take me to the entrance of the tender. I think it's going to be a tight squeeze, as the corridor is less than half a metre wide, just 18 inches. Hello there.
For a blood test. I knew that. There's all sorts of people going to come back and squeeze all the time over me. So I'm on sort of booked in here. They've all gone through.
I can just imagine how tricky this must have been with the train rocking along at speed. Oh, can you imagine the guys going through here? Wow. It is cramped. Of course, we're quite skinny in those days, especially the firemen shoveling all that coal.
What was your name?
Nigel Harper. Wish I'd said Sir Nigel Grassley. I'll show him a ticket. Hello, is there a driver here? Hello there. Well, so this is the Flying Scotsman's cab. Wow. Awesome, isn't it?
Mind everything in front of you is hot.
Yes. So with the engine crew, how often do they change crews on, say, London to Edinburgh?
They would change once, two sets of crews on there, that's all.
What was the sort of run time, roughly?
What, to Edinburgh,
to Edinburgh from London?
Waverley, it was 4 and something hours.
Right. I think 4 hours is today's times. Back in the late 1930s, it was around 7.5 hours. How many tons or hundredweight of coal would have, the firemen shoveled?
Approximately 9 tons of coal, 5,000 gallons of water.
Wow.
Which isn't enough for the whole trip, but they used to have troughs, and they could pick up.
Oh yes, of course, and between the tracks, yeah.
Similar to that's a handboat there. They had another one over here, and they could lower a scoop down. Wow. And they used to take water from the trough.
And suck it up that way, yeah. I can remember seeing those in the old days. The guys between them then shoveled 9 tons of coal.
Most part of that, yeah.
They were fit guys, weren't they, the firemen? My God.
Yeah.
You can't imagine that now, can you?
Well, when you think of the guys on the other route, on the western route, one crew was all there was. They didn't have tenders.
Right. Is that a Nigel Grassley design, the tender, or...?
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure.
Only I'm a Nigel, you see, I would have designed it. I can't imagine going through that, tunnel, if you like, at close on 100 miles an hour. January the 30th, 1965 was the day of Winston Churchill's funeral, and my late uncle, Percy Talbot, who was based at Didcot Loco Shed, boarded the loco as a conductor-driver. The locomotive, a bullied Pacific aptly named Winston Churchill, Battle of Britain class, was the locomotive in question. Uncle Percy guided the train to Longhamborough Station in Oxfordshire. This is close to Blaydon, where Churchill was laid to rest.
We painted her, Winston Churchill, here.
Really?
Had an exhibition up at York, but it came here to be, they cosmetically overhauled it. It's not steamboard. Yes, they did all the work here for that.
Wow.
She's at Shielding.
I just imagine back in the day, did the driver take over and give the fireman a break and swap roles?
No. They were more than capable of doing their stint. So I say you had two crews on here, so they get a break anyway.
Yeah, of course.
But how they used to work, I don't know. Whether it was an individual thing, or whether they were
depending on the
rostered to do
personality
thing,
as well of the
The driver's the man in charge, and a lot of them at that time were at the top of their tree.
Yeah.
And they were celebrities almost in their own right.
Yes,
you know.
that's right. It's a different age,
and how they treated their firemen. I'm not even sure on that whether they used to have crews with a driver and a fireman together, or whether it was a case of you met him on the day.
Right. Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
a bit like a number 2 seat in an aircraft these days.
Yeah.
You know, they're not grouped together. It may well be that was the only time they worked together. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
At one time, they had a sort of driver who would stay with his engine more, you know, as a sort of main driver.
That's the full working pressure.
Right.
So if it pushes beyond that, the valves lift. The other safety valves,
Yeah.
and you get a very loud explosion of steam. So basically, the fireman would try and keep it pretty much where it is there all
Yes.
day.
I was just telling the gentleman there how much coal they had to shift over that trip to Edinburgh.
9 tons.
9 tons.
Yeah, that's the capacity of the tender.
Yeah.
And they only ran out once in about 1932 or something.
Really.
So they get through a massive amount of water, but you're probably aware that there were troughs between the rails in
Yes,
about half a dozen
yes,
points
absolutely.
between.
King's Cross in Edinburgh.
Going through one of the tunnels in Bath, there's some tunnels you can go through that have now been opened by Sustrans.
Yeah, sure.
In that tunnel, the driver and his fireman became asphyxiated with the fumes because they were carrying a heavy goods train, passed out, and the train went straight down into Bath and crashed.
That's correct.
In 1920 something, I think it was.
I know this tunnel because it's got no ventilation.
The trouble is, when you go through a tunnel,
Yeah.
if you don't put the blower on just before you go in,
Yeah.
make sure that there's a big jet going up out, you can get a blowback in the cab. which is
Right,
dangerous.
right.
And I think probably they maybe didn't have the blower set right.
No,
and the fumes
no.
came back out into the fire.
Well, apparently they'd started from a station just nearby, hadn't
Yeah,
they?
so
And
they're probably
they were
very
going very
smoky.
slowly.
Yeah,
Yeah, because Midford Station's only just one end. And once you crest the rise, you drop right the way down through Stoke and
That's
down
right.
to Bath. It's all
Well,
downhill.
there's 2 tunnels, isn't there? There's the
Tunnel
mile
very well.
one.
Yeah, I've walked through.
Oh,
it.
you're from Bath?
My wife and I are walking the Kennet Canal at the moment when we stay.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, fantastic.
So, having blabbed enough, I take my leave, allowing a couple who have recently arrived to ask questions too.
I'll do it there and do that. So you drop it on with the coal and then flick.
It's
harder than that.
It's always incessant.
So you've got, so the boiler pressure there is about 200 on the basis of that fire there. The red line there is the point where the valve, the safety valve would lift. If it would stay there all day, the crew would be delighted, but of course it won't. And it would use all that 9 tons all the way to go up. But it would use about probably 15,000 gallons of water. Now the tank only holds 5,500, so you've got a bit of a problem there. There was a famous story in the 1930s. This end of the first coach was a toilet. And on the way up, they think they ran over a sheep.
Right.
Because it must have bent the toilet outlet part, you know, because it obviously used to just drop straight out of the track. But it bent it in such a way that on the way back, it's perfect for the water scoop. And within seconds, there was a poor chap in the balloon, and it filled it to the roof, to the ceiling with water in seconds. And he staggered back into there covered in toilet paper and soap.
You can imagine that.
I think that's true. I'm not sure if it's an urban myth or not. But that's the story.
Well, it's a good story. I'll stick to that. Yeah, that's good.
So, what did I discover when reviewing the footage I shot? I realised when the driver appeared with a couple who were also having a footplate experience that I should have listened more, checked the camera battery wasn't about to fail as well, and asked the driver how he felt when taking the controls of such a prestigious and famous locomotive.